Good afternoon, guys. Today we're going to look at the 3 levels of analysis, and I think while it's very complicated, I think it's going to add to a more natural flow of your writing. After reading some of your My Mother Peace Quilts essays, um, you're still struggling with how the literary devices are adding meaning to the piece. So we're going to take a step back. We're going to write in groups, but we're also going to look at a painting. I think you already know, just from listening to your wonderful conversation in class, I think you already know how to analyze, especially like a picture, because you guys were all so interested and you had such great things to say. So now we're going to practice doing it with a picture, so that hopefully you can translate that same cognitive level of analysis into your essays over literature. So we've already looked at this picture in class, but that's what I went ahead and just wrote my analysis over, since everybody's got a chance to look at it and we've talked about it. So here is my chart that I filled out. For the sake of time, I just went through each level of analysis, and I just chose one from each to do. You, of course, need to go through and do all of them because you need the practice, but I just chose one specific element that I knew that really stuck out to me and wanted to write about. So first thing you do is, for me, for imagery, in the level of analysis, this is just the stuff that you easily see and how is it creating a situation. So I'm looking at the repetition of the soulless eyes, and how that's going to lend toward whatever I'm saying in this one, that the government doesn't care about its people. Okay, so then I'm going to go on to my next level analysis, and these are the things where you have to start like piecing things together in your own mind. And that's what you have to do with tone. You have to think about what have you seen, and then what are you taking away from it. So I'm talking about the hopeless tone, the hopelessness of the people in the line that are in front of the government. For level 3, this is where you have to look at things within the painting or within the written piece. What correlations are you seeing? If nothing else, go with, if you can't find anything, look for a contrast. There will be a contrast in there if there's a good piece. So I'm contrasting the eyes of the government versus the bodies of the people. And then over here, I went through and I wrote down my commentary. We're going to talk about this more in a second. So if you do good commentary over here, you should be able to pretty much copy and paste it into your essay. So let's go look at the essay that I have written. And up here, I've made a key for you. After reading your Mother Peace Quilts essays, a lot of you guys still are just really struggling with like the order of things, the structure of things. So hopefully maybe this colored visual will help you. I will post this in addition to the video and another document that I'm about to show you on all in Canvas together. So hopefully you can watch it and it'll help make sense to you. You can't see them because I've put them in here, but there's my MLA heading. It's back there, I promise. There it is, yeah. Okay. So, but I put the key up at the top so you can see what I'm doing. Your introductory, first of all, make sure you have a really clever, creative title. So I did Cold Empty Stairs, Cold Empty Souls. Haha, like the repetition, right? And then the CES and CES. Next, I'm going to need a lead-in sentence, followed by an informative statement, and then followed by my thesis with a transition, and then why. I'm not in love with my thesis, I will tell you that, but it's 6:30, so I need to go ahead and get this video recorded. But let's see what I have. For my lead-in sentence, they look out, but they see nothing. They see no life, they see no passion. So obviously we don't know who they is yet, but at least it keeps you inspired. I've used parallel structure with they look, they see. Now my informative statement, I need to include the author, the title of the piece, and then maybe some other kind of information about it. So I have, in the painting created by American painter George Tooker, entitled Government Bureau, he depicts a line of helpless, hopeless people who are patiently waiting at the mercy of emotionless government workers. So even if you haven't really seen the painting, you can kind of guess that, I'm talking about hopelessness. Okay, here's my thesis. So I did, the what is obviously going to be the painting. The why is what you're taking away from it. So this does that, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of awkward. Tooker painted with egg tempera paint, which is a permanent, long-lasting pigment, in order to convey his perception of how the government is a large, soulless body who cares not for the individuals within its charge. And because there seems to be no foreseeable change in the government ideology, he wants his painting to last. He wants his painting, it should be to last, beyond the years of American bureaucracy. So my what is the painting, and I've said specifically like what he painted with, but that's not necessarily what I'm writing about. But the why is all of this, and then I concluded that he wants his painting to last, so that we connect back to why I talked about the paint. So I don't know if that should be yellow, but the idea is that the government is soulless and there's really no foreseeable hope. So that's why I'm going to talk about the tone of hopelessness. Okay, now let's talk about the 3 levels of analysis. Okay, just stick with me, okay? So you have your thesis statement. You need to choose, you're going to write a topic sentence. But you need to, in your topic sentence, it needs to go to connect back to the thesis statement like we've talked about before, but also it's going to introduce what topic that you're going to be talking about. For me, I talk about the I's all the way throughout, but I talk about them on 3 different levels. So in my my topic sentence, the government I's portrayed in Tooker's painting represent the government's apathetic nature towards, their duty to the American people. So this is my what for this paragraph, and my why is telling me what they're doing. So that's connecting back to them. I use the word apathetic, and right here I talk about that they are a soulless body. So that would imply that they don't care, and apathetic would be a synonym for that. Okay. Now I told you already I've chosen the I's, and I'm going to look at it through all 3 levels of analysis. Level 1, if you go back to your chart. If you go back to your chart, I've identified for you which each of the levels are, and I've told you what's in them. Sorry. So, let's see. Okay. So, what you need to, but this is where you need to, I need you guys to really, really work hard. You have to show me what literary device you're using, the keyword that goes with it, and where you see this literary device. A lot of you guys in your essay said she uses a simile to compare how she quilts. Well, that's great, but you didn't tell me what 2 things she's comparing, and then you didn't explain it. So you scored like a 1 on your analysis part because it was so weak. So do that. Then you got to explain what the device is doing that's going to add to the author's purpose. In my particular prompt, I'm talking about how the author sees that as basically a hopeless government. And then you got to have something that's going to connect back to the topic sentence. So in my topic sentence, we're going to talk about the apathetic nature that's being portrayed about the American people. So let's look at level 1. Remember, level 1 is, I wish I would just click to it. Level 1 is going to be diction, imagery, or style. Within those things are smaller options. I went with imagery since we have a painting. It seems easiest. But let's look and see what I did. There are 6 eyes peering through round holes, and each eye adds to the soulless imagery throughout Tooker's painting. So just looking at that first sentence of analysis, I did if it's underlined, it tells you my literary device is right here is imagery. I told you what kind of imagery it was. Okay, so it's part of my keywords. It's telling me what kind it is. So that's my keyword. And then where you see it. I'm talking about the eyes peering through the round holes. Okay, now next I know that I have to explain what the device is doing. So now I need to talk about these eyes. The governmental employees' eyes do not appear to look directly at any of the people standing before them. Instead, each eye appears to stare directly through the person as if they are not there. Okay, the last part now, I've got to connect it back to my topic sentence. So I've got to say something about them being apathetic or not caring, etc. Tooker's painting illustrates the governmental's failure to see individuals as unique, living souls. Therefore, they treat everyone with the same disdain instead of truly trying to help Americans thrive. Okay, moving on to level 2, analysis. Okay, so level 2, those are the associations. I went with tone. I think theme and motif would also work really well for this particular type of essay. But I went with tone. So again, I have to have the literary device, the keyword, and where I see it. Let's see if I did that. The hopeless tone of the painting is pervasive. From the dull drab colors to the slumped over shoulders of the men and women waiting in line to the piercing, non-blinking eyes of the government officials, there is no action in the scene. Okay, so I did that. I told you my literary device is tone. What kind of tone is it? It is hopeless. And then where I saw it. I saw it all the way throughout. I see it in the colors. I see it in the slumped over shoulders. I see it in the non-blinking eyes. And then I go on to my next sentence. I've got to explain what it's doing. The absence of action implies that when people come to receive governmental help, there is no help available. And then notice here, oh, that's something I didn't talk about. You can do these in 1 to 3 sentences. It really just depends on how much you have to say, how much evidence you have to provide your reader with. So I'm giving you that flexibility. You're probably always going to need about 2 sentences. Sometimes you're going to need 3. I needed 3 to really fully explain my imagery. Here, I just needed 2 sentences. So I said the absence of action implies that when people come to receive governmental help, there's no help available. Instead, people are left waiting at the mercies of officials who do not care. So that connects back to my topic sentence because I said they were apathetic. All right, the last one, level 3. If you go back to your chart and you look at level 3, you've got repetition, contrast, shift, and juxtaposition. They're all awesome choices. I went with contrast because I thought the eyes versus the bodies in the face, like you couldn't see the Americans' faces, you could see the government's face. I thought that was going to be a stronger argument for what I was trying to say. Again, you can do this in 1 to 3 sentences. It appears as though I did it in 2. Again, I have a literary device, where I see, the keyword, where I see it. Let's look at my first sentence. The contrast, so that's my literary device, of the eerie, peering governmental eyes versus, and that's going to be my keyword, because that's what contrast does. It shows a comparison, versus the hopeless, faceless bodies of the Americans waiting in the symmetrical lines, and then I'm going to explain it, implies that the government is watching. Now I got to connect back to my topic sentence. They have eyes everywhere, but instead of watching over the American people in an attempt to improve their well-being, they simply wait, watch, and remain apathetic to the American need. Okay, so I connected it right back to my topic sentence. Now, since you are working in group for the last sentence, if you you need to this, because like this essentially is going to be a paragraph. Like, let me show you. Nope, not that one. This one. So I've just shown you what I just showed you on the other page, but I have it all in one paragraph. So this is one person's paragraph. Everybody's going to have their own paragraph. So right here was where a transition sentence would go. I would need to know what my next person in my group is writing about so that I could add a transition sentence to whatever their topic is. If you happen to be the last person in your group, then just write a concluding sentence about the whole thing. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. Please know that you have to include levels 1, 2, and 3 to get really good deep analysis. They all have to have a keyword. You have to show me where you see it. You have to explain what it's doing, and then it has to connect back to your topic sentence. And please, if you're struggling with this, or if this is very confusing to you, please come into tutoring and let's sit down one-on-one. And we're going to keep practicing this in class. We're going to be writing chunks. It's just very, very important that you develop an analytical voice and understand that every word is important. And it's also very important that you choose a well-chosen quote. Like for here, since we don't have words, I chose eyes. And I was able to talk about the eyes in 3 different levels. So whatever it is that you choose, you need to be certain that you can talk about it on a level 1, what you see, a level 2, what associations are you making, and then a level 3, what intertextuality do you see. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in class next time.